begin this story under the Argonian Sea with a very large Argonian miner. His name is Shoron, and he's there with his little sea creature pet, a pagny named Parit. Pagnies usually eat the salt that comes out of the Argonians when they're sweating, when they're working. Shoron has a nickname because he's fairly large and brown. They call him Slud. It's a term for a rock that bashes through other rocks. And Shoron is working really hard right now because the next generation is soon to be born. Their hive mother, who they call Argony, is expected to give birth very soon. And new quarters need to be made for this new litter. As he's working really hard, he kind of gets into an emotion kind of state where he can't really hear anything. He just focuses on his work, and he goes to this euphoric area in his mind where he can't hear anything, he can't feel any pain. He's just in a void, and he's learned to really love this void, and he is very hard of hearing when he's in it. And this kind of works against him in this way because his superior officer Jarkin calls to him, and he can't hear him, he can't respond, and Jarkin is with some of his superiors and doesn't want to look weak in front of them, so he calls him again. Again, no response, so he goes in there, and most superior officers have a whip, and brings him over, throws him to the side of the cavern, and begins to whip him mercilessly. He's like, "You need to learn to respect me, damn it." And he smacks the crap out of him. This knocks Lucerne out of the void, obviously, and he gets up, and he looks at him, and he says, "I'm sorry, I can't believe I couldn't hear you. I'm dreadfully embarrassed." And he goes, "Stop your groveling. We need you to go twice the length of your original quota." And he says, "Yes, sir, it'll be done." And this is kind of bad news for Shoron because he was about to finish up, and he was excited to have a day off to just relax and to spend time with Parit and to just enjoy the day. The superior officers leave him, and he begins to work. Shoron, in order to dig, Shoron has what's called a drill spear, which is a very large, sturdy metal spear that he stabs multiple ones of these into the core, and then grabs them by a rope that's tied to them and pulls them out. And he begins to work real hard on this. And while he's doing this, his superior officer Jarkin comes back, and he says, I'm sorry I had to do that, Shoron." Shoron knows Jarkin. Shoron and Jarkin are friends. He says, I understand. A well-known Argonian phrase is, "Never look weak, never be weak." So Shoron goes, "Never look weak," and Jarkin says, "Never be weak." And Jarkin pats him on the back and says, "Don't work too hard." And you can see that Jarkin actually does care for Shoron, but this is a society that does not deal with sympathies very well. So Shoron goes back to his work.